Now that the previous four slides presented the problem narrative describing business requirements of water utility database, we are ready to start with the first step of the DM process, which is identifying entities and their attributes. To identify entities in a problem description, look for nouns that involve people, things, places, and events. In our case, the people involved so far are customers, although employees are going to be there shortly. Physical things like meters and bills are next, as well as events like readings. Rates could be initially treated as attributes, but it's clear that they exist independent of customers and bills, as they are set by the state's water commission. Then look for properties of these nouns describing attributes of the identified entities. In our example, customer's first and last name, meter size and model, rates fixed and variable amounts, various dates on the bill, as well as reading date and water level are all examples of attributes. As we already mentioned, since an employee is only temporarily mentioned once in the context of reading the meter and no other attributes of an employee are discussed, it is okay to temporarily leave employee number as an attribute of the reading entity. Next, we go through the second part of the first step and identify primary key for each of the entities. The two important characteristics that need to be satisfied by any primary key are: 1. It must be stable, and 2. It must be single purpose. Emails and phone numbers are not stable. They do change over time. A phone number can be used to approximately determine location based on the area code at least, so it has another purpose. Industry codes can also change and are not 100% stable. The simplest, stable, and single-purpose primary keys that are used often are auto-generated numbers such as 1, 2, 3, etc., available in all RDBMSs. All of the other examples such as phone, email, industry code, etc. are designated, if appropriate, as unique or candidate keys and are used in common searches, which is why you're often asked about email or a phone number. In cases when these do not end up being unique, other fields are used to successfully locate a single record. So if you and your underage child, presumably without a phone, have the same phone number in the database, some auto-generated primary key is of course still different, and the system can use the first name or social security number or something else to distinguish between the two of you. Going back to our water utility data model, we need to go through the four slides one by one and identify all the attributes and primary keys for each of the five entities: customers, meters, readings, rates, and bills. The primary keys are emphasized as unique numbers in this case: cust number, cust NO, meter NO, read NO, rate NO, and bill NO. So we only need to list the remaining attributes and create all the entities with their attributes using ER Assistant. Okay, so let's start by launching ER Assistant if we need to, right here, and then creating a new file named new blank diagram named. Okay, first of all, we gotta locate, find its location, which is the class folder, and then it's going to be 06 underscore develop underscore DM is our working folder, and of course the lectures subfolder, and I use slides as video and videos as usual. So ERD6, 6 for 6 chapter underscore 01 for the first diagram. We're not going to have that many in these video recordings, and then it is WU for water utility underscore initial underscore NTTs. Okay, so now let's switch back to the presentation and move back to slide number 5 that has customer info at the bottom of it right here. Okay, so we'll look at that bottom of the slide and realize that customer data description has unique customer number right here, first and last name, address, type and rate. And we already discussed that having one or more meters, the last part of the sentence or bullet, is a relationship rather than an attribute. Okay, customer rate will end up being a foreign key to the rate entity, and as you can remember, as you might remember from previous recordings, those are not included in the list of customer attributes. So, switching back to the diagram, let's insert our first entity, call it customer. Okay, and add the following attributes. We'll start, of course, with cust no as the primary key. Continue with cust first name, cust first name, cust last name, cust address, and cust type. Okay, since we don't have an automated ERD to SQL conversion tool, we are not going to bother selecting data types at this point. Okay, so we'll close this, close that, and notice that you have the first entity, customer entity, with its attributes inserted into the diagram. Then let's switch back to the presentation and move to the next slide. I believe this is number 6, to add a meter entity. Okay, looking at the description, with a meter number as a primary key, we have an address, size, and model. Okay, so I'll switch back to ER Assistant, add new meter entity with meter NO as a primary key. What did I say? Meter address, meter size, and meter model. Okay, and move it a little closer and keep saving, of course, as you work through it. Readings, right? For reading entity, okay, read NO is the primary key. Okay, followed by EMPNO, or employee number, which for now is just a regular attribute. Okay, we're going to skip the meter number, so it is the foreign key to meter entity. Then read time timestamp is next, and read level as the water consumption level. Okay, so we're going to use the bottom of the slide. I believe this is number 6 still, right? To enter these to enter the reading entity and its attribute into ER Assistant. Okay, so it is reading, okay, with read NO as the primary key. Okay, new EMPNO. Okay, temporarily a attribute of reading, but in reality it will become a foreign key and removed later from this entity. Okay, we again skip the meter number. Since the foreign key, we got read, what is it? Read time. Read time is a date time stamp. And then finally read level as the consumption level we are after here. And close that. And we're gonna adjust, we're gonna position these better a little bit later on. Okay, back to the slide. We are moving to number 7, which describes rates. Okay, so again, the rates or rate entity has a rate NO as a primary key, description, fixed amount, threshold, and variable amount as attributes. Okay, so let's switch back to the diagram. New entity rate with new rate NO as a primary key, and then we got rate DESC as a rate description, rate fixed, AMT is the fixed amount, rate trash as the threshold, and between the fixed and variable presumably, and then the rate of our amount that is quoted in dollars per cubic foot. Close that, close that. Okay, and then finally, keep saving. Finally, we got the bill. Okay, um, with the billing structure described in detail on this slide. So we'll switch back to the diagram, create a bill entity with attributes such as bill NO for the primary key, okay, followed by bill date, okay, that it was prepared, and then bill due date when it's due for the customer, okay, and then I got a bill start date indicating the start of the billing period, and then bill end date indicating the end of the billing period, okay. The bill details contain meter numbers, reference again a foreign key, as well as water consumption level and amount owed, both of which are calculated and are typically not included as attributes. Okay, so close, close. Let's just simply line them up for now. All right, make sure you save the changes, switch back to the presentation, and then move to slide, I believe this is 11, and make sure that it matches what is at the bottom, the tables at the bottom, or entities at the bottom of the slide. And this is a good place to pause.